The thing that we need to look at for this week, the second weekend of Batman vs. Superman, we said that it would be a front-loaded movie and that we expect a huge drop-off in the second weekend because that's what people are saying.
And what people were saying is that it's poorly reviewed, 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a B cinema score, which is below average. The average movie gets like a B plus on cinema score. So it's getting a bad grade from critics and audiences, which usually leads to bad word of mouth and huge second weekend drop-offs. And both of us were saying, well, let's see if the word of mouth will affect it this week. And obviously it did.
Right. And as we said in the previous podcast, a drop-off in the 60s is not uncharacteristic of movies with a huge opening, like Batman vs. Superman. Before we move on, Batman vs. Superman actually had an opening of 166 million, not 172 when the actual number comes in. So, there's that. They overestimated the opening numbers. Okay, let's get into number one. Batman vs. Superman came in number one. It made 52 million in the second weekend, 68% drop off.
Mm-hmm. So we were talking about 60% drop offs, or normal for a movie that opened as huge as this, but usually that's kind of like in the low 60% range. But Batman vs. Superman is like 68%, which is on the higher end of that. So the poor word of mouth is affecting it. But on the other side, there's, I think, Harry Potter, the last Harry Potter movie, or one of the Twilight sequels also experienced 68 or 70% drop off in the second weekend. So
right, and there's also X-Men: The Last Stand, I believe. But you can see some sort of trend there. These are not really good movies. They're mixed movies.
Yeah, except for Harry Potter. Harry Potter was actually well reviewed. But Twilight was poorly reviewed. That movie is just one of those front-loaded movies where, it has a huge audience. So, Twilight is kind of the exception. Almost every Twilight movie experienced that kind of drop-off. X-Men: The Last Stand was, compared to the first two, was, a huge drop-off in quality.
I guess that movie was not very well regarded.
Yeah, right.
They pretty much kill everybody, right?
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as good as the Bryan Singer ones. So Batman vs. Superman is kind of like the X-Men, The Last Stand type of film. People were looking forward to it, and when they saw it, they left disappointed. And we're seeing the results of that this weekend. But after 2 weeks, it has already made 261 million domestically, and worldwide it has already made 683 million. After the first weekend, people were thinking, cross $1 billion worldwide, but now that figure has been adjusted down to around 900 million, which is still not bad. Pretty good.
Yes, I guess as the movie that would launch the DC Cinematic Universe, it's not bad. I mean, it could be better.
$1 billion would be pretty good, but 900 million isn't that far off.
Right. 900 million is a couple million here and there, right? but still,
yeah.
Worrying.
Oh, exactly, a couple hundred million here.
Right. But more worrying is the reviews, right? The cinema score is not good. The reviews are not good. I think people are saying, okay, let's give it a wait and see approach. I mean, you like the movie? You think it's not bad?
Well, I didn't like it. I say it's one of those 2.5 stars out of 4 where it's better than average but not good. So kind of in that range where it's just good enough.
Right.
It is entertaining.
In critics' parlance, it's diverting, right? It passes the time.
Yeah. Passes the time. Yeah. When people ask you, you wouldn't say, hey, it's good. You say, you think about it a little bit and you put your finger out and you give them the not bad, okay.
Right, at least a rental.
Yeah, at least a rental.
Well, here's the thing that we have to talk about, right? There's the Final Four, March Madness, the Final Four basketball tournament, of the various colleges have an effect on this movie and a huge drop-off.
Could be it's the same, audience. I think it could possibly be. So we might have to see what happens next week too. Will it continue to have this kind of drop off, or will it slow down?
The Final Four might have an effect because it is the Final Four basketball
It is
tournament.
the same demo.
Uh-huh.
Same demo. Yeah.
They can always catch the movie later. Like you say, we have to wait until next week to see if it's stabilized or if it will experience this huge drop off.
We'll see. But I think it might be slightly disappointing if it is only able to hit like 800 mil. But if it hits about 900 million, that's still kind of a solid number.
You know what? I think this number
worldwide.
Yeah, I think this number is actually pretty good because, like I said, Warner Brothers doesn't have a good track record outside of the Christopher Nolan movies.
Right. So, That's true. And it is already at 683 million worldwide. It's already been the Man of Steel.
Right.
But Man of Steel didn't have this kind of buzz. I mean, like this kind of build-up, this kind of hype.
Yeah, but then again, like the movie came off of a very successful Nolan, trilogy, Batman. But Superman wasn't a very well-liked character here. It doesn't have, when they switched to Henry Cavill, he was okay. I think who was the previous Superman? Brendan
Routh.
Yeah, Brendan Routh. I mean, his movie didn't do that well. So
you know what? Here's the thing. It's kind of odd how time changes people's opinion, because Superman Returns made 200 million, which is at the time, which isn't bad, and the reviews weren't horrible. The reviews were 75%. But what happened was it Bryan Singer?
Yes.
What happened was he couldn't get a deal done with WB. I think he wanted more money and a bigger budget that WB didn't want to grant him. So that's why they ended up rebooting it, because they couldn't work out a deal.
Well, the budget was pretty high, 270.
Yeah, it was pretty high. Yeah, that is high, especially for the time. But I'm not sure how reliable that figure is. Is that including marketing or? Because at the time I read the budget was around 200 million, but as time goes, it seems like that figure keeps on growing. And now you mentioned 270, and I'm thinking in 5 years people are gonna say the budget was 350.
It's possible. The real number comes out, right?
It's interesting that that figure went from 200 million to, I guess you say 270 in the It's kind of odd that it keeps on growing.
Right. Here's the thing with Superman Returns, though. I mean, even though the critical response is good, I mean, I think audience doesn't really like it. They thought it was kind of meh.
It's like one of those things. At the time, I think women responded better to it because it was more of a romance.
Okay. All right. So what is the next movie in this universe? Was it Wonder Woman? Yeah.
No. It's Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah, that's considered part of this universe too.
Is it? Or some of the characters going to show up, or are they just kind of unrelated?
They're kind of related.
I know they place in the same universe, but for it to be related, there has to be some crossover of events or characters, right?
Well, from what I've been reading, it's considered the next film in the universe. It's considered kind of related.
Oh, okay. See, that's the thing between Marvel and DC, right? It seems like it's a last-minute stitch-up of these movies. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, right?
But if you don't count Suicide Squad, then I think Wonder Woman is the next one.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman is the next logical successor to this one. I don't think Suicide Squad is because it has a different characters. Like a team made out of villains trying to do good, right? And you have this eye patch guy trying to hold them together.
Right.